Hello and welcome to class number 16 of the UPSC Mains Answer Writing Initiative, a place where we try and make you master the art of UPSC answer writing by decoding previous year question asked by UPSC, discussing structure of the answer and also giving you homework so that you can practice on your own. In order to get PDF of these lectures, you can join the Telegram channel. The link is in the description of this video. I'll be uploading all the PDFs there. Also, there is an entire playlist of these videos. If you missed any of the ones earlier, I'm giving the link of the playlist also in the description. Go watch that out as well. In the very first class of this series, as I tell you in every single lecture, we discuss about the structure of the answer. So in case this is your first class or you have not seen class number 1, please go through that. It will really help you immensely to understand how to write the answer, how to make a structure exactly, so that you are clear about that. Once you are done with that, you can come back and see what question do we have in store for you today. So today we have taken up a question from GS1 2023. The question is from medieval history. What were the major technological changes introduced during the Sultanate period? How did these technological changes influence the Indian society? It's an interesting question and I'll tell you why. A lot of people, while preparing for Indian history, when they don't have time and they say that I don't have time, I have to skip some part, many people in fact skip medieval history part. I don't suggest that, but I have seen a lot of aspirants saying that I'm skipping medieval history, it's too long, I can't read. But these kind of questions are important and they do appear from medieval history part. There are two parts of this question. First part, what were the major technological changes made and how did it impact Indian society? Now, one mistake that some people do here is when it comes to technological changes, you think of technology in today's terms. Mobile phones, airplanes, laptops, that is not the only technological change. Technological change can be as basic as having a new appliance to use in agriculture. Something that has increased your efficiency in agriculture. Let's say a new measuring technique. Let's say you are able to measure land properly, you are able to measure land much more efficiently. Even as little as, let's say, paper, book, currency, all these are technological changes. So when the phrase is technological changes in the history, don't really think from the point of view of today's technology. Technology can be any new invention that makes your life better, that makes your life easier. So having said that, we'll answer two things here in the main answer body. We'll write two things here. First, what were the major technological changes that we saw and how did it influence our society? There are innumerable examples. Depending upon what you remember at that point of time, you'll have to write it. Intro will be pretty simple. The intro part will be a definition of Delhi Sultanate. Now, the perfect intro will be if you remember the years of the Delhi Sultanate. If you can just mention that Delhi Sultanate is this time period from this to this, which was an integral part of Indian history because that was a time when India was ruled by rulers coming in from outside that laid the foundation for the Mughals going forward. Something like this can be the introduction. So again, if you remember years, that will be perfect. Something like Delhi Sultan was a 320-year Islamic empire in Delhi, reached its highest point of zenith under Muhammad bin Tughlaq. It expanded across most of the Indian subcontinent and it laid the foundation for the Mughals to take over. Till here will be the introduction. And this is what, as I tell you every time, this is the connecting line. The connecting line allows you to join the intro with the main body. Since in the main body you will be writing about technological advancements, so after the intro of one line, you write about the fact that this period witnessed multiple important technological advancements which impacted various facets of Indian society. Now we'll come to main body. This is where the answer will differ depending on what you remember. So for example, here I have mentioned number 1, technological advancements in agriculture. The biggest one was the invention of the Persian wheel that led to farmers cultivate crops in areas where irrigation was not possible earlier. It allowed the farmers to have much better irrigation in those areas where water supply was not consistent. Also famously, a land measuring instrument, Ghazi Secondary, was introduced. By measuring land properly, it allowed the rulers to ensure that tax collection was done much more efficiently. Second category that I have written is architecture. New Indo-Islamic architecture style was seen in this era. It was a time that saw very important buildings like the Qutub Minar, the Alai Darwaza, etc. Plastering of the buildings also changed. Materials such as lime paste and gypsum, etc. were used, and new technologies came up. So again, even architectural changes can be categorized as technological advancements. Similarly, in industry, new kind of textiles were being used. New techniques such as dyeing came up. There were pit looms that came up. Also, very importantly, this was the time that paper making industry flourished. Paper making industry was very, very important. Without paper, without books, imagine a time where knowledge could not be shared. The entire reason why some great people, some great scientists had thoughts and they could spread it across the entire world in a small amount of time was because of invention of paperwork and book. So paper industry coming up means there was a significant spread of knowledge that started here. Mainly after introduction of printing technology by Portuguese, later on it became even more prominent. There were military advancements, new kind of weapons such as firearms, cannons, etc. came up. There were cultural advancements as well. The culture part, if you want, you can skip because this is not a technological advancement as such. I have written this so that you can have an extra point in case you have to write a similar answer later on. But the culture part, it's not really part of technological advancement, so you can skip this part if you want to. If you want to connect it to technological advancement, you can write about musical instruments. How new musical instruments came up because that's also part of technology. So these were the technological advancements. Now again, there are two parts of the question. First was technological changes. We have mentioned those. Now we'll have to mention how did they impact the Indian society. So again, whatever you have written in the first part that these were the important technological advancements, think about how it impacted the society, and that will be a second part. For example, architectural changes. How did it impact our society? It influenced architectural traditions. Indian architectural style, the earlier style was mixed up with Persian elements. Many new forts and mosques came up. New cities such as Fatehpur Sikri, new cities such as Tughlaqabad also came up on the basis of this new architecture. There was economic growth also seen in trade and productivity. Why? Because of, again, increase in agricultural efficiency. We discussed about the Persian wheel being invented. That led to surplus agricultural production. That led to good economic activity, improvement in the living standards of the people. Many new textiles had come up. These textiles were in fact exported. Places such as Ahmedabad, Surat became the hub of textiles from where they could export it to the other parts of the world. Similarly, there was an impact of intellectual advancements with the production of book and paper. Persian literature, poetry, all of that influenced Indian society. So again, we are connecting the first part of the main body, the advancements that happened, with the second part. Second part again is about the impact of those advancements on the Indian society. Cultural exchanges also took place between Hinduism and Islam. The idea of coexistence, the idea of things being similar in two cultures to a certain extent, all of that was an impact of new technology on India's society at that point of time. Depending upon if you remember more points, you could include that. If you did not remember these points, you could reduce that as well. We'll conclude it by saying how important Delhi Sultanate period was for the years to come to build the foundation of some of the most important things in architecture and in different fields in agriculture, such as agriculture as well. You can talk about how these benefits help the society by increasing their standard of living, although the benefits were not equally distributed. But yes, that era of technological advancements in the Delhi Sultanate did play an important role in building the foundation for Mughals to come in and India to flourish so much that it attracted the eyes of the British and the Europeans, and then they came up to India. Something like this can be the conclusion of this particular question. In history, you anyways can't write way forward, because in history based question, whatever has happened has happened. You just have to write about historical perspectives. This is your homework for the day. Again from history. How did the colonial rule affect the tribals in India, and what was the tribal response to the colonial oppression? Can be a tricky question, because again in history a lot of people don't read about the tribal revolts. Many people leave that part thinking it's too complex, too difficult. If you have left that part, you won't be able to answer this question. If you have not read about tribal revolts so far, don't worry. You can do a Google search, write about it. I have told you earlier also, when you are doing answer writing practice, if you don't have content right now, feel free to go online and search for content. Just make sure you write the answer in your own language. Right now, the more important thing is to gain confidence in writing answers. Even if you don't have content, feel free to take it online, take it from online, and then be wise enough to then write it in your own language. You can also send this to me on my email ID. In a couple of days, I'll try and check it. Thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe, do hit the like button. Bye bye. Jai Hind.